Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Haley Bree, an 8-figure founder and investor who is creating a new era of entrepreneurship where getting rich and being relaxed can actually happen at the same time. There's a whole community of us on my free app, so come be an insider. I have the links to download on either Apple or Google Play in the show notes description, so definitely come be a part of it. And thank you so much for being here. You know what I thought would be super fun is if we decided to take a massive business that's blowing up right now and we dissected their growth strategy. We dissected why it's working and how we can apply it to online business. Here's the thing. I am obsessed with La La Land coffee. I love it. I don't drink coffee, but I'm a big chai lover. And what I love even more than their chai, which I love their chai a lot, is how they have been able to scale to 100 plus locations in 4 years. Think about it like this. Your business right now, as it stands, think about duplicating it 400 times and each of them scaling on their own. Okay. That's amazing to me. In the span of 4 years, they're doing something. You have to have the cash flow, the investor fund. You have to have a lot of different variables that are working in your favor to scale at this rate. And competing with Starbucks pretty well in the locations they're doing. So I figured, let's dissect it together. Yeah. And if you like this breakdown, if you like dissecting the business, if you want it done differently, reach out to me on Instagram. Like I always say, this podcast is for you. It's not to hear myself talk. It's genuinely to give you so much value for your business. So just let me know. Let's get into it. I have some notes on my phone here. This is a VC-backed, mission-driven brand doing tens of millions a year after just a few years of being in a pretty tough industry when you think about it. I mean, coffee is not, in my opinion, an easy industry to get into. But I think the growth responsible for getting to this 100 plus store crazy rate of growth is these three things. Kindness as IP, number one. Number two, aggressive. When I say aggressive isn't even cutting it, like insanely aggressive, collabs and borrowing audiences. And number three, a loyalty engine wrapped in bright yellow. Okay, so we're going to dive into these three things. And let's go into the kindness as IP because there is the, let's say, energy of the store, but then there's also this mission-oriented part of the store that is doing great with investors. Investors are easily putting their money into this because it makes them feel better about their investment, honestly. So let's break this down. What they've done is they have decided, okay, we are going to help kids that are aging out of the foster care system, and we are going to give them jobs and we are going to give them homes when they're working for La La Land. So that's huge. And then also, when you're going into the coffee store, the whole point is to spread kindness and joy. That's it. That's their mission. That's their mission. And I love it because the workers there, they're aged out of the foster care system. They're so sweet. I love getting to know them personally. And then they'll shout, "I love you," when you walk out of the store, typically. And it just makes your day. Like, your day is just so much brighter being around that energy. You're selling a vibe, honestly. And I think that's great, especially with Gen Z coming up. Like, Gen Z buys vibes, let's be honest. So that's another reason why I think this is genius. And I think that's something that we can all think about as well. Obviously, we're not creating coffee shops that are super optimistic and positive, but how can we apply that to our online business? How can someone buy a vibe? Okay. And think about the kind of vibe that your customers want to buy. Like, let's take a CFO or an industry, okay? There is a CFO that is super calculated. Maybe they're dry. Maybe they're not very growth oriented. They kind of have like this defense. A lot of finance professionals that I've been around have this very like defense, fear-based knee-jerk reaction to pretty much everything, right? They're like save, 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 save. Then what if you are a CFO who has the experience, has your notches in your belt, of course, but maybe you curse, maybe you have personality, maybe you have tattoos, right? The vibe of, listen, I'm really good at what I do, but I'm going to be really direct with you. I'm not going to be fluffy. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell you this in a way that's going to connect with you. And there might be a few curse words thrown in there. That to me is a vibe. Now, that vibe might repel some people, might go, "Ooh, wait, I don't want to work with someone like that." Cool. They're not for you. But man, the people that it is for, they're going to buy your vibe. So that's something to think about. But that's not the main takeaway that I want you to take away from this episode, because we are going to get into way better takeaways. Okay, so missions are amazing for reducing buying friction, but also when you're looking for investors, which I know most everyone listening to this episode, you're not in the investor hunt right now, but it definitely makes it easier. And if you're ever thinking in the future of wanting to get into the investor space, I mean, me personally as an investor, mission is very important to me too. What's the most important is the operator. It's either, am I going to buy your business, or am I going to scale your business as you as the operator? That's the first important. But the second definitely is, how is this impacting the world? Because once you pass the operator test, now we're getting into, okay, is the way you're impacting the world energizing to me? And I think La La Land has nailed this perfectly. So they've had over $20 million in investments collected. And if you think about the PR engine behind kindness as an IP, it makes wiring 8 figures a lot easier, honestly, when you know you're adding good to the world. But let's talk more about their growth, because the growth was absolutely insane. And for this level of insane growth, obviously sales are crucial, right? I mean, money is the oxygen of our business. So instead of trying to build from ground up, because what could La La Land have done? They could say, okay, well, we need to get a TikTok channel. We need to get an Instagram. We need to get these things. We need to start building up all of our content. We need to be posting 3 times a day. We need to be doing all this, right? They could have done that and then sold. That's an option. They didn't, because they're smart. What they did was skipped trying to build a business from the ground up and work really hard to get their audience up from 0. They just rented someone else's audience. It's like this. Instead of seeing a building that you really want to do a photo shoot in, and you're like, oh man, I should buy this building so I can do a photo shoot in it. Nah, girl, just rent it for a day. Way easier, way cheaper, way faster. That's what La La Land did. They rented someone's audience for a temporary season of time, and they scaled. They scaled super fast with that. Then they repeated what worked. Screw building awareness. They just hijacked it. That's the goal. Don't focus so much on building awareness and visibility for your business. Hijack awareness, hijack visibility, get it in seconds instead of years, right? That is how you grow so much faster. And it's easier too. I mean, this is how I've scaled most of my businesses, was renting someone's audience instead of just simply growing it myself. And then you have a really leveraged back-end system. So you know what? Let's get into this real quick. And then I want to get into how La La Land actually rented audiences, because this is something that I did back in the day when I was scaling my membership site to 2 million plus. I had an evergreen funnel that I either performed live or I sent them to evergreen. Other people would be sending their audiences to this sales system. And then I have a 5 to 7 day period. So like, let's say 100 leads comes into that sales system, whether it's live or evergreen, doesn't matter. Let's say 20 people buy, 80 people don't. Well, what happens to those 80 people? Well, those 80 people now get put into a double funnel, which is a back-end funnel that over the span of 120 days actually increases the amount of profit I've made per lead. That is the number that I'm always looking at. What is the amount of revenue that I make per 100 leads? If I'm making $20,000 per 100 leads in a 5-day period, how can I make that $50,000? By having a funnel on the back end for the leads that don't convert. That's how I do it. And I have to be really strategic with that. So it's more about the strategy. It's more about how you're outsmarting basic strategies that people are over here wasting their energy and time doing. It's like, nah, I'm going to skip all that. That doesn't look fun to me. And I'm going to do it in a way smarter way, in a way that actually scales me forward. And the way it feels like, instead of pushing this ball up a mountain, like this boulder up a mountain, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to build this audience from scratch. I'm going to post all this stuff on social media. And think about, when you stop, you're still exerting energy just to hold that boulder. Now, when you get to the top of the mountain and you push the boulder down, you're simply adding momentum to the boulder that's already going downhill. That is how business can feel. But a lot of people pushing that boulder up the mountain. No, thank you. So, La La Land, let's get back to La La Land. They're renting their audiences to build their audience way quicker. They're teaming up with big brands and influencers that are known for their audience size, brand power, and has people spending money and trusting quickly. Think about the trust that someone has in Lululemon, okay? So, Lululemon has built for, over a decade. They have put money, energy, time, executive C-suite power into creating a reputation for Lululemon. Now, what Lala did was La La Land, they rented their brand reputation and did a collab. So they actually have the Lulu chai latte. You notice I'm really obsessed with chai. They also did some other things with Lulu as well. But they create a specialty drink, and Lululemon sends everyone over to go try that drink. And now, La La Land, what is their goal? Now you have this influx of people in your store. Now you have to retain them. You have to make sure that that customer is a repeat customer. Otherwise, you get a one-time customer and a drop-off. No. That's not the way you scale businesses to the level that La La Land is doing it. And that's where I was talking to you before is people can send me leads, but I know how to convert them. And I know how to maximize revenue on the back end if they don't convert in a 5-day period. This is very similar to what La La Land did was you download their app and you immediately get free stuff. You get heart points. And I think I actually have, you know what? Let me save the calculations for the heart point in the app because I'm going to get into that a little bit later because I want to go through some numbers with you. It's super fun and cool. But they use their app to retain customers, of course, but also the experience. And shouting, we love you when you leave, the kindness and the joy, but also the efficiency, the packaging, just everything. They do such a good job of making you want it to be, God, I really want a chai latte right now as I'm talking about all this stuff. So they also teamed up with like Alex Earl. And if you don't know her, she did Dancing with the Stars recently and had second place next to Robert Irwin. She's a really big time influencer, has millions of followers. So someone like Alex creates a specialty drink, boom, now sends all of her followers over there. They also are teaming up with pop star singers, different people that just have really good brand reputation. And again, renting their audience, having people send them their way. So here are some numbers. Lululemon has over 5 million Instagram followers and 30 million plus loyalty members that are a part of buyers of their brand. La La Land's Lululemon Matcha collaboration reached over 1 million people organically without using paid ads. Traditional ads to reach 1 million people in the LA market is $50K to $100K. And that's, I would say, conservative. So the cost of collaboration, the product development, and the revenue share estimated $10,000 to $25,000. Now, these are obviously rough numbers, but you kind of see what I'm going here. You can get 75 to 90% cheaper customer acquisition by renting an audience, and it's on tap. It's like if you're in front of a sink, you turn the water on, boom, leads come. That is the beauty of renting audience. Now let's get deeper into once you get a customer in the store, what happens? How are we going to retain these people? How are we going to get them to be repeat customers? Because that's a business. You get 1 million people in the store. Awesome. How can we make that how can we make 700 of those people have that be their daily store? That conversion rate is insane. 1 million to 700,000 people. But you get what I'm saying. Maybe a third of those people end up being daily customers. Whatever the math shakes up, how can we optimize how many people that came to the store because of this collaboration I did with Lululemon, Alex Earl, Poppy, whatever? How can I get them to keep coming back to La La Land? That's the question. The answer is they made their customers feel rich with fake math inside of an app that they own, which is even better. And because they owned the app, they now own the lead. Now, here is some of the fake math. If you take Starbucks, for example, they go off of stars to get free merch, right? So 1 star equals $1. I can see quickly how many stars or how many dollars I need to spend to get the stars that I need to get free stuff, okay? If you have a gift card with Starbucks, you get 2 stars. Big deal. You got to double your stars. That's awesome. I say big deal, but I have a Starbucks app and I always do the gift cards. So, I'm being serious there. Now, La La Land, here's what they do. For every dollar spent, you get 5 hearts. Here's why this is important. 2 things. Number 1, it makes it sound like you're giving more than Starbucks right out the gate, right? Well, Starbucks will give you 1, tops 2. we're going to give you 5. It doesn't matter if you actually have to spend more. Just that math alone makes it seem like La La Land is being more generous, okay? But also, doing the math of how much you need to spend in order to get free merch or free beverage or free whatever, it's harder at 5 because $1 to 1 star, you can easily do the math. Okay, if I want 200 stars, I have to spend $200. Or even 2 stars. If I want 200 stars, I have to spend $100, right? You do 5 stars, people are going to go, not worth doing the math, but I really want the hearts. I really want the hearts. And they have really awesome hats. But, what's interesting is to get let's say, how much does it cost to make a hat? $5, right? You have to spend $500 in their app to get a free hat. So you still have to spend a lot of money in order to actually get these free things. But just think about the logic of it all, the psychology of it all. That's what's fascinating. And just one last little note to just wrap it all up. The bright yellow, let's talk about it for a second, because when I was playing scientist with ads and everything, I was looking at the colors and I started doing photo shoots with bright blue walls behind me. And our CPA cost, not our CPA cost, that's deals with the funnel because that's cost per acquisition. Our CPL cost, which means directly from the ad to acquiring a lead and what the cost of that is, our CPL cost lowered by a third with the brighter colors because we're standing out on the feed. We're standing out. So if you think about La La Land, that bright yellow, you're already going to have to pay rent for a store, right? Just run your coffee shop. Why not use that to your advantage? It's free marketing. You're paying for a billboard by renting a building. So why not have colors be super bright and stand out when you have all these doctor offices and dental office looking super boring next to you? So it's the strategy of actually standing out and using an asset you're already paying for, the rent. Why not use that as a free billboard to your advantage to attract customers? Why not use what you're already paying for outside your shop to make it look even more appealing to come in? And so I already love that because you're already paying for the real estate. Why not? And here's some data that I got because I have my own data of my, lowered CPLs, but high contrast colors reduce meta ad CPMs by 15 to 30%. So that's really cool. So when we're applying this to online business, usually we don't have to pay for real estate. Now, some of us do have some physical businesses or we invest in real estate, but most of us don't need real estate to have our online business works. What is our real estate? Our online design presence. That's what our real estate is. So how can we leverage that? And I'm not talking about your brand. I'm not talking about that. That's what people see when they get into your ecosystem. I'm talking about what people see before they enter your ecosystem, the drive-by. Because think about La La Land. They got that real estate, but the drive-by is what they're seeing. So when someone is driving by your business, what does that look like? They're scrolling on Instagram. They're scrolling on Facebook. They're scrolling on Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. They're scrolling on their phone. If they're driving by, aka scrolling, how can you stand out in front of them? And to me, this bright yellow may have some inspiration. It doesn't mean you have to change your brand colors. Don't change your brand colors for this. Maybe just choose some colors and do scientist. Just play scientist and say, okay, let's do a bright yellow. Let's do a bright orange. Let's do a bright green. Let's do a bright blue. And let's go test them. Bright red, whatever. Let's go see which one catches eyes. Which one, it's the same exact copy, same exact headline hook. First, I would definitely do some market research and do testing on the right hook. Then experiment with colors. See how you can even lower the CPL cost even more. So thinking about it from that perspective, hopefully just get your brain expanding on some different things that you can do inside your business. So the last thing I'll say, La La Land did not open 100 stores. They opened 100 marketing channels. And the way they went about that, it's exciting to me. I just love nerding out over this stuff because every location creates a billboard for them. Every collaboration is a product launch. Every app user is an owned lead they can now retarget for $0. So this is something that I want you to just sit on, think about how you can apply it. And if you want to be a part of the deeper discussion on this, I actually have 3 questions that are going to hopefully get you thinking at a really high level based on the conversation we just had. It is within the app. So just go to Apple or go to Google Play, Haley Bree app. it should be able to pop up. It's green with an HB. So just click on that, download it. I will have these 3 questions for you. Go to the there'll be a section where we just have podcast episodes listed, and everything related to that podcast will be there. So let's talk through it even more. And of course, put in the comments your answers if you want to, and you and I can just discuss. I'm looking in the comments and I'm seeing what's happening over there. So I'd love to hear your answers, and I would love for you to get access to these questions as well. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If you would like more of these breakdowns, of course, let me know. I'm totally here for it. I nerd out over business all day long, and I'm constantly taking pictures of things that inspire me, of how other businesses are making decisions, whether I believe they're strong or weak. I always have an opinion, and I always love testing it out, putting it in my business science lab, and sharing. Download the app, and I will talk to you next week. Real quick, I'm putting together a free community for online entrepreneurs that want to join this next era of entrepreneurship. It is all in an easy-to-use app under the name Haley Bree on the App Store, Google Play Store, or just go to the show notes description and I will have all the links there for you. Because we have outgrown the grind, we have outgrown the business advice that's do more, work more, post more, because we might be parents, neurodivergent, have a 28-day hormone cycle, or let's face it, just we're recovering from burnout or illness or trauma. So if you're like, yes, Haley, I want to be a part of this, awesome. Let's get you in on these deep conversations that are leading to smarter strategies in online business, or the free live events where you can go to and I will visually break down systems, strategies, and models that create profit without relying on you. That way you can be relaxed and get richer, and those 2 things can happen at the same time. So let's get you to download the app, and then we can welcome you into our group. I cannot wait to see you inside, and thank you for listening to this episode.